Good morning, everyone. Thank you all so much for tuning into another Mystic Fitness yoga class. I wanted to let you guys all know that we are back up and running. I'm so excited to be back at the studio. I enjoyed a little vacation in West Dennis, Cape Cod, and it was an okay weekend. It was the weather wasn't as exciting as it usually is, but it was beautiful. A little bit hazy. Still got some color though, so I'm not worried about it. Good morning, Kristen. So I did tune into a couple yoga classes while I was at the Cape. So I tuned into Saturday morning with Amy. That was a fabulous class. And Sunday with the Baptiste class as well. And Mirari did an absolutely amazing job teaching for the first time in our live studio. And I am just so thankful that we have this community and have these wonderful teachers that are willing to help me out so that I can take a little break as well. So I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you to the people who filled in for me, Kelly Spencer as well. Thank you, Kelly, and Deba Mitra. It really kind of like when you go away from a situation and come back, like it's like new glasses. You kind of have like a new lens on everything. So it was definitely needed. And if they're watching right now or tuning in later, thank you, girls. Thank you, ladies. I really appreciated your help. So as you guys know, Mystic Fitness comes live to you every morning at 9 a.m. We're doing Instagram. Hello, Instagram. We're also doing Facebook Live as you guys are tuning in here as well. And then we're archiving all of these onto our Facebook page, so they all get saved onto our Facebook. In addition, we're also putting them onto a YouTube channel, so there's really no way you can miss out on this content. You can find it on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Just look up Mystic Fitness, and you'll be able to see our little logo, the purplish pink logo there, and you'll know it's us. So thank you, Amy, for your hard work on setting up that YouTube channel. It's not easy. I tried. I did some of the work. It's a process. In addition, you guys, if you want to make a donation to Mystic Fitness, you can look us up on Venmo. Mystic Fitness is our username. And if you do make a donation, you are going to receive one of these amazing handmade and reusable masks. Mary Beth makes them. They're awesome. They wash very well, and I've used mine dozens of times going into the grocery store. And I think, it's just good to keep them on you, have a couple with you. Even though we are going to be reopening, it's always good to just make sure that when we're going into highly trafficked areas like that, we're doing our part to kind of keep everybody safe, as well as the workers. It's not just about us going into the grocery store. It's about the workers there, for 8 hours a day, providing the service to us, touching all of the equipment, all of that stuff. So we want to make sure that we keep them really protected and safe. All right, so I think that's all of my announcements. If you guys have any questions or are looking for certain postures to do, let us know. We're here to provide you guys with the best content ever. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Find your way onto your mat, either seated or laying down, a child's pose, whatever feels most comfortable for you within your skin, within your body. I'm so grateful to be back within this studio. As I walked in, Amy said, "Welcome home." And this idea of home. It's not four walls and a roof. It's internal. It's within you. And for me, as well as many of you, Mystic Fitness is kind of a second home. And we have proven through these virtual classes that Mystic is more than just a room or a studio. Mystic Fitness is a community. And we can still engage within this community even as far apart as we are. I want you to know as you sit in your own homes, or maybe you're in your Cape house or outside, I want you to know that your energy is felt within this room, that we are all interconnected. And consciousness is intelligence. And I'd like to take the next 5 to 6 breaths, just really grounding down. Imagining you're sitting within the studio. Allow your energy to float here. With your next in-breath, slowly start to reawaken within your physical body, wiggling the fingers and toes, moving of the head from left to right. And if you are in another position other than seated, taking the next 2 breaths to slowly bring yourself back up into your seat. Bringing your hands over your heart, connecting back to this space. Notice how there's a little bit of excitement building in the anticipation for movement. And as much as possible, just try to remain grounded within the now, present within this physical moment. And perhaps setting an intention for the beginning of your class. If no intention arises, no worries. Maybe it will come to you throughout movement. We'll begin our class with the sound of Om, uniting our vibrations as one. Start by taking a cleansing breath in and out. And for Om, inhale. Have a beautiful class. Inhale, arms circle, sweep up. And just start to make some rotations through the wrists here. We want to make sure that we warm up our joints accurately for some weight bearing. A lot of the times our hands and wrists need a little extra warm up before coming on to our hands and knees. Open and close the palms like you're flicking water off of your fingertips, feeling a little burn in those forearms. And then giving the hands a good shake. Just shake it all out. Any tension. And rolling the shoulders up and away from the ears a couple times. The fingertips can come on top of the shoulders, or maybe the arms want to kind of spread wide. Taking that in the opposite direction. And taking any little wiggles throughout the neck before coming into our table pose. So take your time to arrive. If there's still some movements you'd like to explore in a seated position, you can remain as long as you like. If you're following in your table pose, we'll find some cat and cows. So the inhale is the dropping of the chest, gazing forward. And the exhale is a curling of the spine as you push the floor away and look towards the belly. Again, inhale, arch, open your chest, neck, throat. Exhale, curl and round, open the upper back, shoulders, and also the back of the neck. Inhale, open. Exhale, curl. And as you move through these postures, you kind of have this opportunity to sink into the dialogue that happens between breath and sensation. So a lot of times we go into our mind for words and ideas of how we want to move. What I'm asking of you this morning is to kind of let that voice kind of quiet down and let the voice of sensation, so that feeling that you get throughout the body, be your guide. So that dialogue might be telling you to take some back and forth presses or big hip circles, dropping the hips to one side, rotating them all the way around and back. And as much as my cues are kind of guiding you and leading you through your class, I want you guys to take as many detours as you like. So the route that you get to the posture is important for your body. So if there's an alternative way to move that you want to enjoy and experience, please let that be welcome. Eventually sinking back into a child's pose once you've taken those hip circles on both sides. No rush to get there. Eventually allowing yourself to sink in a child's pose. In your child's pose, those knees can be together, or knees can be far apart if you're looking for more of a hip opener here. Take 3 breaths in your child's pose. Just relax down into it. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. Last breath here in your child's pose. Eventually returning back into your table pose. Let's find some threaded needle flows here. So keeping that left hand on the ground. Inhale, right arm sweeps up to the sky. And exhale, the right fingertips sweep towards the left, kind of through that window of the left arm. Inhale, right fingertips reach up. Exhale, thread your needle. 2 more like this, flowing. Inhale and exhale. Last one. And holding in your threaded needle for a moment. I personally like to take my left hand underneath my head as a little pillow here, especially when I'm wearing this cool headset. If you guys want to make this a little bit less pressure on that right shoulder, you're going to sink those hips back. If you want a little bit more pressure, you're going to pull those hips above the knees. Now from here, some people like to find a little bit more engagement by extending the left toes to the back of the mat, maybe even reaching the left toes up off the ground. So in order to do this, I want to make sure that I'm flexed really strong through my left leg and using my hips over knees to really make sure that all my weight doesn't go dumping into my right shoulder. Slowly start to come out of this pose if that leg is lifted. Coming out of it the same way. So reach those right fingertips up. Look up towards the fingertips. And release back down. Let's take that to the other side. So this time the right hand plants. Inhale, left arm sweeps open. Good morning. And exhale, thread through. Inhale, re-extend, open up. Exhale, thread. So take 2 more like this. It's always a great idea to find some flowing dynamic movement before holding a more fuller expression of our postures. Last one. And exhale, landing in your threaded needle. Again, some options that exist here is bringing the right hand underneath the forehead as a little pillow, sinking the hips back or sinking them above the knees. And if you like, you might even extend the right toes to the back of your mat. Make sure you're not dumping all of that weight into the left shoulder. Maybe the right toes reach up. Flex the foot. Keep it nice and engaged. That right leg is strong. If the right leg is extended, go ahead and start to bring it back to center. Coming out of this posture the same way we got into it, by re-extending the left fingertip up towards the sky. And exhale, release. Coming into a flat back in our table pose, let's tuck the toes under and then lift the knees to just a hover. So we're experiencing what this core connection feels like. I want the fingers spread wide. Fingertips are pressing into the earth, almost like you're a little tree frog here. Breathe in. Breathe out. One more. Landing the knees to the ground. Slap the tops of the feet onto the earth. Maybe sink down into a child's pose for a moment. And then we'll come back into our table pose and find that core activation, and that's going to reach us up into our downward facing dog. Spread the fingers into the earth. And what I mean by pressing the fingertips into the ground is almost like, have you seen those tree frogs with the really big fingertips? That's kind of the same energy that we want when we're grasping onto our mat. So let's give that a shot. Tuck the toes, lift the knees to a hover. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hips pull up and back. Find your first downward facing dog of the morning. Let's pedal the feet out. Make sure those shoulders are rolling down and away from the ears. And just pedal your feet here one at a time. And I gotta let you guys know that, after taking a couple days off of yoga, which is, pretty beneficial for the body to take breaks of any athletic thing that you're doing, whether you're a runner or, swimmer, it's always good to kind of take a couple of days of break throughout your year. And what I am noticing is that I am a little bit tighter this morning, so I'm going to make sure that I'm really careful with my body, accurately warming myself up. So that includes you guys. If you're dealing with any injuries or tightness, you really have to pay attention to it and let your breath kind of soothe those locations. We're going to fire this up a notch here by finding some back and forth presses. So with the inhale, we're going to drop the knees to a hover, hips pull up and back. So this is a posture. This is a bent knee dog. With the exhale, we're going to launch forward into our plank pose. Make sure those shoulders don't come past the wrists. Inhale is a pulling the hips up and back, bent knee dog. Exhale, hinging forward plank pose. Take these a couple more times. So we do these pretty often in my class. I really like the way that they start to warm up the joints, send some blood flow through the body, and it's kind of introducing what a plank should feel like. All right, now here we go. Let's hold that plank here. Find our first version of chaturanga. So the way I like to cue this first is by doing the easiest version to start. So let's drop those knees to the ground. Inhale. With the exhale, slowly lower the chest to the ground with those elbows pointing back. Chest lands. With your next inhale, we're finding the low cobra by engaging the shoelace sides of the feet to the ground. Peeling the chest up, shoulder blades come together. Exhale, release. Let's find one more baby cobra. Inhale, peel the chest up. And exhale, release. Making your way back to your table pose. And downward facing dog. Breathe in. Breathe out. Let's continue this motion here. Inhale, bend the knees, gaze forward. This time we're going to take flight by hopping or walking to the front of your mat. Forward fold. Keep a deep bend in the knees. Enjoy this fold for a moment. Shake the head, yes and no. And by shaking the head yes and no, we're having this really low impact way of releasing the neck. And giving the head a little movement here, getting some blood flow into the head. Inhale to your halfway lift, fingertips to shins, lengthen through your crown, and exhale, fold. Inhale, rise, circle sweep all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart, ground down here. Good morning. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. If you're joining us, come on onto your mats. I think you're just in time. We did get a little warm up. Let's find some side stretches here. Inhale, arms reach up. And either interlacing them at the top, so interlacing them almost like you're giving someone the little finger guns, or you're going to keep the arms apart from one another, depending on what your shoulder mobility is like. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, side bend over to the right. Inhale, center. Exhale, side bend to the left. Two more here. In, to the right. In, and to the left. Last one on both sides. Inhale, coming back to center, arms reach up. And exhale, hands to heart, sink down into your chair pose. So in your chair pose, we're making sure the feet are hip distance apart, and we're sending the weight back into the heels as we press the hips back. So notice how we want to keep that nice flat back here. We don't want to arch, or we don't want to tuck. We want to find that happy spot in the middle. What is it? The Goldilocks spot. So in your chair pose, we're going to breathe for 5 more. 3, feel that blood and warmth building in the body. This is so important to access this kind of strength throughout our class. Here's your last breath in. And with the exhale, hinge, forward, forward, fold. Shake the head, yes and no. Notice how the legs feel after holding that chair pose. Beautiful. Inhale to your halfway lift. Exhale, hands plant, step or hopping back to your plank pose. Now in your plank pose, take a deep breath in. Decide if you want to drop those knees to the ground for a little bit more support. If you're ready for a full chaturanga, inhale. With the exhale, lower halfway, elbows point back. Inhale, peel chest open. Keep the knees and hips engaged off of the ground. And exhale, downward facing dog. Breathe in 2 breaths. So it's almost like overnight we've kind of entered our summer season, huh? And I can tell you guys, we don't have the heat turned on, but this is a pretty hot studio right now. All right. Inhale, right leg reaches up to the sky. And with the exhale, just bend and extend that right leg. Open your hip by dropping the right heel over towards the left glute. Breathe in. Breathe out. Inhale, extend right leg, square the hips. And with the exhale, knee to chest. Inhale, extend right leg up to the sky. With the exhale, bring the right knee over towards left elbow and then kick that right foot through, lifting the left arm up to the sky. So we're in this funky side plank here. Press those hips up, breathe in. With the exhale, return back to your plank pose. Inhale. And exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Let's take that to the other side. Inhale, left leg reaches up. Bend and extend left leg. Open and close the hip. Left heel dials over towards right glute, bending in the knee. Inhale, lengthen left leg up to the sky. Square the hips. Exhale, knee to chest. Inhale, re-extend. Exhale, left knee to right elbow, and then kick the left leg across. Open right fingertips up to the sky, side plank. Breathe in, press those hips up. With the exhale, return back to your plank pose. Prepare for a chaturanga with the inhale. And exhale, chaturanga. Eventually returning back to your downward facing dog. 2 breaths here, in and out. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. Inhale, bending the knees, gaze forward. Exhale, walk or hop to the front of your mat, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms circle, sweep up. And exhale, hands to heart. Breathe in, breathe out. Make sure those feet are hip distance apart. Inhale, arms circle, sweep up. With the exhale, sit down into your chair and take a twist to the right. So left arm pulls forward, right arm pulls back. Inhale to center. Exhale, twist to the left. In, twist right. In, twist left. 5 more on each side. Really let those hips sink back. Engage the knees kind of apart from one another here. We're on our last 2 on both sides, I think. Maybe I missed one. All right, here comes our last round to the right. Inhale, and to the left. Inhale to center. And with the exhale, pull the hands towards the heart, ground down here. I want you to bring the weight into the right foot. Pick that left knee up to the chest. Give it a squeeze in the standing wind relieving posture. Rotate at the left ankle. Bring the hands towards the heart. Keep that left leg extended. Flex the left foot. Inhale. With the exhale, send that left foot back for your Warrior 3 variation. So in your Warrior 3 variation, I want you to keep a bend in the right knee. To make this a little bit easier, you might choose to interlace fingers on top of right thigh and kind of use that as a shelf to keep yourself lifted. Here's your last inhale. With the exhale, landing in your crescent lunge. Beautiful. So in your crescent lunge, you want to make sure that once again, those feet are still hip distance apart. So we always want to make sure we have a solid foundation, working from the ground up. We're on the ball of the left foot, but notice how that left knee is kind of bent so that our pelvis is tucked below the shoulders. We're going to take 10 dips here. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, dip down like a slow elevator, and elbows come towards the rib cage. Inhale, lift. Exhale, dip. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This time we're going to drop all the way to the ground. Let that left knee land. So I want to make sure that that left knee is right below left hip. So we're not going for this really deep lunge. We're going to try to keep the hips stacked right on top of left knee. Inhale, left arm reaches up, right hand towards the hip. Taking the left hand over right thigh and twisting open to the right. From here, maybe that right arm wants to extend back. Breathe deeply in and out. Inhale, coming back to center, both arms reach. And with the exhale, pulling the hands towards the heart, we're going to try to lift ourselves back up. So tuck the left toes under and press yourself back to that crescent lunge. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, dial left heel down, open up, Warrior 2. So as we set up in our warrior, I'll tell you guys we are going to need a block or whatever prop you're working about 6 inches in front of right toes. So set that up. Find your warrior 2, the right toes face forward, left toes face gently in, and bounce in and out of your warrior 2 a couple times to really feel where the body needs to line up. I'm going to steal a drink of water. If you need one, go for it. Mom, if you're still tuning in, good morning. Have a great day at work. Thank you for your support. All right, so we're back in it. We're in our warrior 2. And again, what's very important in this posture is that there's an energetic pressing forward with the right foot and an energetic pressing back with the left foot. So this provides us a little bit of contrast here so we can really zipper in and engage those legs. Arms open. With the inhale, open the arms, peel your chest, gaze up. With the exhale, bring the fingertips towards the belly as you look towards the belly button. Inhale, open. So this is kind of like that cow pose. And exhale, curl, kind of like that cat pose. Last one here. Inhale and exhale. Return back to your proper warrior 2 posture. Flip right palm, inhale, reverse. Stay for the exhale. Make sure that you didn't lose that bend in the right knee. So it's very common when we reverse our warrior to want to lengthen through the right leg, but try to keep that deep bend in your leg. Last breath here. With the exhale, finding your extended side angle. Hold for the exhale so that right forearm can place on top of right thigh if you need a little support. Or engage even more through those abdominals. Imagine there's a wall behind you and you're pressing your hips and shoulders evenly into that wall. Last breath here. With the exhale, return back to your warrior 2. Lengthen through that right leg. Give it a break for a moment. And then return back to that warrior 2. We're going to find our balancing half moon. So for this pose, we want to make sure that block is a little bit in front of right foot. That way we have a little bit of space to kind of reach the right fingertips towards. Bring the weight into the right foot and start to bring right fingertips towards the block and lift left leg up. So this is your balancing half moon posture here. Now that block is just a little anchor. We're not dumping our weight here, right? Our fingertips are just barely hovering on the block. Left leg is engaged, so if you're pointing it or flexing it, either way, you want to make sure that that foot is locked all the way up to the glute. So touch your glute, touch that left glute. Isn't it engaged or is it just kind of flopping there? Make sure it's zippered in. This makes this posture so much easier. Last breath, really keep those hips and shoulders open towards me. With the exhale, left foot lands. We're going to come into a wide-legged position. So point both toes in. Inhale, open your arms and chest. Exhale, hinge forward for a wide-legged forward fold. So you should really enjoy this posture after that difficult balancing half moon pose. Breathe in and out here a couple times. And I don't know about you guys, but I hope you're building up a little bit of a sweat in your own little studio here. We're going to find a Skandasana on the left side. So I want you to start to bend through that left leg. Now, Skandasana can look very different depending on what body type you are working with this morning. So the beginning of our Skandasana can simply be bending in that left leg and putting the left elbow or forearm on top of that left leg. So notice I'm not going super deep. My chest is lifted, but I am kind of bringing a little bit more weight into the left leg. Now, if you are a little bit more flexible and want to get deeper into this, you're going to sink those hips all the way down, and the right toes are going to point up to the sky. Now from here, you can play around with some opening of the right arm up to the sky, or maybe reaching your fingertips in front of you and bowing your head. We're going to be here for one more breath. All right, we're going to get a little funky here now. Let's start to prop ourselves over to a runner's lunge on the left side. So now I'm facing the back of my mat. Left foot is grounded, and the right toes are on the ground. From here, finding a hover runner's lunge by reaching the chest up, pulling the arms back. Inhale, exhale. 2 more here, in and out. Feel that sweat and heat building. Last breath. Beautiful. Rise up to your crescent lunge with the inhale. And with the exhale, pull right knee in towards the chest. We're in our standing wind relieving posture. So now we've just completely turned this around so we can do it on the other side. And I got to be honest with you, I didn't even mean to do that. So sometimes things just work out. All right, from here we're going to bring our hands towards our heart. Keep that right leg lifted. Inhale. With the exhale, send the right foot back for a warrior 3 variation. So flex that right foot. If it is a little bit easier for you to interlace the hands on top of left thigh to keep you lifted, go ahead and take that option. Again, keep that flying leg engaged. Here's your last breath. With the exhale, we're landing in our crescent lunge. So from here, the left leg is now forward. And we are on the ball of the back right foot, making sure that the knee is gently bent so that we're not hyperextending through the limb here. We're going to find 10 dips once again. Inhale, arms reach. Exhale, slow dip. In. Out. 8. 7. Stay in control here. 6. 5. The slower you can take this, the more methodical it becomes. 4. 3. 2. And on this last one, dip slowly all the way down. Let that right knee land. And again, we're making sure the right knee is stacked above the hip, or below the hip rather. So we're not going for this really deep lunge, but instead we're going for a stronger posture here. Keeping the left hand on left hip, inhale, right arm reaches up. And with the exhale, twist over to the left. So the right hand comes on top of left thigh, and you're twisting open. That left arm can extend to the back as well here. Notice if your hips are kind of sinking over to the right and try to stack them back again. So we are pressing into the limbs. The legs aren't just on the ground. They're pressing into the ground. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, hands to heart. We're going to press ourselves back up. A very difficult movement here. Tuck the right toes under. Slowly rise back to your crescent lunge. Arms reach up. And with the exhale, dial right heel down. Now we're back in that warrior 2. Take a couple movements in your warrior 2, kind of bounce in and out of it, get yourself set up. Time for another water break here. And eventually holding in your warrior 2. If the block is at the other end of the mat, go ahead and bring it back in front of the left toes. Beautiful. We're going to come into those cat and cow motions in our warrior 2, but first we need to set up the foundation, right? So we want to make sure that the right leg is now energetically pressing for the back of the room, and left foot is extending for the front of the room. Arms open into a T. Inhale, peel the chest open, gaze up. Exhale, round, let the fingertips touch. Inhale, arch and open. Exhale, curl and round. Last one. Returning back to your warrior 2. Inhale, flip left palm, reverse. Stay for the exhale. Make sure that you keep that bend in the left knee, reaching the left fingertips up and over towards the right. Relax that left shoulder. Last breath in. With the exhale, find your side angle. So letting that left wrist come towards left thigh. Now, if it feels more supportive to let your forearm kind of rest on the thigh, then you take that option. Wherever you are, imagine the hips and shoulders are pressing into that wall behind you. Last breath here. With the exhale, come back to the warrior two. Lengthen through the left leg just for a moment. Give it a break. And then return back to that warrior two. We're going to find our balancing half moon. So this time, we're going to bring the weight into the left foot. Bring your sight over to left block. And let the fingertips kind of reach for the block. Lifting that right leg up to the sky. Now, in this posture, it's very important that the whole entire right leg is engaged. So we're not just kind of floating here, right? No, we're strong. We're engaging every fiber of our body. Relax the neck, though. Let those shoulders be a little soft here. Last 2 breaths. Stick with the challenge. Stick with a little bit of discomfort. Our dismount is into a wide-legged position, so let the toes come in, heels come out just slightly. And if you'd like, you can interlace the hands behind the lower back or place them on the lower back before hinging forward for a wide-legged position. Now, if you have those fingers interlaced, rather than letting the fingers kind of drop towards behind the head, I'd rather you reach the fingertips up towards the sky like you're trying to rub the knuckles against the ceiling. This keeps that chest open without crunching through the neck. Find a breath here or 2. Well, it's definitely summer here at Mystic. We might not even have to use the heaters. If you're still working with that grip, go ahead and release the fingers back to the ground. We're going to find the Skandasana on the right side. So again, the first version of our Skandasana is just bending and dropping the hips over towards the right and taking the right forearm on top of the thigh so that you're kind of in this more supported position. If you are a little bit more flexible, you might be able to sink your hips all the way down, basically just hovering off of the earth. And those left toes point up to the sky. Might feel nice here to open up the left arm up to the sky, finding a little opening. Or maybe walking the fingertips forward and bowing your head. Last breath here. Our dismount is coming into a runner's lunge on the right side. So this time the right foot is forward, left toes are at the back of your mat. We're back to kind of where we started, towards the front of the mat. Let's find that hover, reaching the fingertips towards the back of the room, keeping the chest lifted, palms face the ground. 3 breaths. Press into that right foot. Last breath. Reaching back up to your crescent lunge, and then stepping left foot to meet right, mountain pose at the top of your mat. Breathe it in and out. Shake out the legs, maybe empty coat sleeve from side to side. Beautiful. We're going to flow to the ground. Come to the top of your mat. Let the movement slowly start to come back to normal. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, hinging from the hips, forward fold. Inhale is your halfway lift. And exhale, fold. Hands plant, stepping or hopping back to your plank pose. Breathe in. Breathe out. 2 more. Press through the heels. Engage through the legs. Full body workout. And let's drop onto our forearms here, our forearm plank, our favorite version of plank. Keep the palms open to the earth. Chest is pulling forward. Hips are gently tucked under. You can always drop those knees to the ground here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stay with it. I want you to bring the right forearm so that the fingertips are towards the left side, and we're opening up. So we're in a forearm side plank here. So my forearm is parallel to the top line of my mat. Left fingertips reach up. Press the hips up to the sky. Here's your last breath. With the exhale, we're going to exchange the forearms. So this time the left forearm lands to the ground, opening up towards the right. Fingertips reach up. Press the hips. Breath in. Breath out. Last one. Beautiful. With the exhale, come back to your forearm plank. I know. 3 more breaths, you guys. We're going to nail this. We're practically done. Just stay with it for that last second. Exhale, knees and hips to the ground. And now we're delightfully rewarded with a beautiful Sphinx pose. I want you to keep the chin gently tucked. And we're using the connection of the forearms onto the earth to kind of peel our abdominals apart from one another, getting a nice big stretch. Sometimes I like to imagine myself as a little snail here, and I'm kind of trying to snail my way across my mat. Sometimes visuals like that really help me understand the posture, kind of connecting it to something that we all can kind of understand what that means. Beautiful. Eventually, landing the chest and one ear to the mat, arms alongside of you. You can bend the knees and windshield wiper legs from side to side to get that nice deep unwinding through the lower back. When you're ready, pressing yourself into your table pose, finding a child's pose really quick. Just regroup here. Sink those hips back. Let the head be heavy. Arms can reach in front of you or behind you. Another really great option here that I'd like to share with you guys is actually bringing the arms in between the legs. So you kind of come into a table pose. You reach the arms in between the legs and sit down. So this is a pretty intense posture. If it's not working for you, that's okay. You do need to have the knees spread apart from one another to find this pose. I really like the sensation of having my chest on the earth like this. It's almost like a cradling. Last breath here. Slowly starting to come out of this posture. Returning back into your table pose. And we'll find our way into our pigeon. So if you prefer a reclined pigeon, you can go onto your mats and find that figure 4 variation. If you'd like to follow me this morning in a prone pigeon, we're going to tuck the toes under. Hips pick up and back, downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg up to the sky. I like to open my hip here sometimes before my pigeon, so you can drop the right heel over towards left glute. Eventually, lengthening right leg, square the hips, and bring the right knee towards right wrist. So we're sitting down into our pigeon pose. The most important part of this posture is making sure that that right thigh is parallel to the long edge of your mat. From that location, everywhere else that your body falls is exactly where it needs to be. So that might mean that you have the left knee open to the left a little bit, and that's a beautiful posture. This might also mean that you take that block underneath right glutes, so that you're not relying and dumping all of your weight into the hips. This is a pretty deep posture. If you don't really have the flexibility yet, you want to make sure that you're not going to injure yourself by taking the correct modifications. Eventually, hinging your way forward, allowing yourself to kind of find your prone pigeon. I like to place a block underneath my forehead for a couple of reasons. Number 1, it relaxes my shoulders and neck. And number 2, it always helps the audio to kind of keep the head lifted away from the microphone. We'll be here for 5 more breaths, so really just indulge and the softening. And the only way you'll be able to receive the benefits of this posture is if you release the tension being held within the right hip. Notice if there's any muscles that are tense that don't really need to be, even including the jaw and the muscles of the face. Notice if your brow is kind of furrowed, and relax your brow. Is furrowed a word? I might have just made that up. Sounds right. Last 2 breaths here.